I like China.
2024首届国际路亚文化周暨 Mlf 鲈钓大联盟赞皇交流赛已经落下了帷幕。为期2天的激战，席云川与王志飞拔得头筹，再一次为我们展现了他们优秀的实力，并且受邀参加此次比赛的2位卡斯丁美国签约钓手 Brett Chapman 和 James Allen 也为观众展示了他们2位精彩的强力做钓技巧。下面，随我们一起来看看他们的赛后采访。
The big difference between Chinese fishing tournaments and American fishing tournaments are this one was very, very fast paced. And I think it was because one, the fishing was so good. I've never fished a Chinese or ever fished a competition where every fish counts, but you have to bring them into the weigh-in and then go back out and fish. So it was physically demanding from the standpoint of you had to go to the dock, load up all your fish, run up there, weigh your fish, and then go back out and continue fishing. So that was a big difference. But then, I've never fished anywhere else in China before, but the fishing here was incredible.
You know, every lake is different no matter where you go in the US, and I'm sure it's the same in China, but it seems like a lot of the fish here in China set up and do some of the same things that they do in America. They like to be around, if they're shallow, they like to be around cover, bank cover. They need shade and some place to hide so they can ambush their prey. And that same thing happens in the US. So they seek out good areas that are, good for them, little points, grass, on the bank and stuff like that, wood cover. So a lot of that's the same. I would say, you just are going to find that a lot of places bass do a lot of the same things, and it seems like that was the case here in China.
Knowing what to do from day 1 to day 2 is just letting the fish tell you what they're wanting to do, and that's where we're having a lot of knowledge of realizing the first day that, hey, the fish are eating the bladed jig, and I can cover a lot of water with that and be very effective with it. So that's what we did. But come day 2, like 30 minutes in to fishing and not getting any bites or getting fish that were just bumping the lure, that was the telltale sign that we needed to make some adjustments and try more of the jerk bait and spinner bait. And once we made those adjustments, we started catching more fish.
So during the tournament, especially the first day, we didn't switch up the fishing techniques a ton. We just had 2 or 3 different things that were working. Brent in particular is very good at throwing a chatterbait, and they would bite that immediately right as soon as we started fishing. And I started using a lot of different techniques behind him, trying to clean up and trying to figure out what else was good. So I did a lot of different things and landed on a couple different presentations that were also good besides the chatterbait, like the spinnerbait, the lipless, and flipping and jerk baiting. So those were the different techniques I landed on, just based upon trial and error also, and just knowledge of knowing what will probably work based upon my fishing history and knowing things that work on other lakes.
So the best description of what we did was for American power fishing is it's heavier line, heavier rods, and bigger baits. Like I said, it seemed like a lot of the techniques that people were using here is what we would call very finesse techniques. So these are bigger setups, half-ounce baits, a lot of 15 to 20 pound line, bigger rods than a lot of people are using. So they're techniques that have heavier line, but you can also fish very, very fast with and cover water, and also put baits into the heaviest to cover and get the fish out.
So, American power fishing, as we call it, the best description for that would be just a lot of the times it's a moving bait, and a medium to large size moving bait, and you're really going and going and going and fishing new stuff and just going on the trolling motor, covering a lot of water and looking for feeding aggressive bass, and really playing the numbers and trying to make a lot of casts during the day and a lot of presentations and trying to catch the easy fish that are out there and ready available and that are eating and feeding. And that's just kind of the whole outlook for American power fishing.
The advice I'd give to people back home if you wanted to get to our level is get out and go fishing. If there's water around, more than likely there's some kind of fish in it, and go fish for them. It might not be bass, but if you can go and catch any kind of fish, it's a good starting point to then when you do get somewhere where there are fish, what I recommend is start with the big stuff. You want to start with big bait, big rods, heavy line, because you want to have the advantage to the fish. Then let the fish tell you if the fish are biting this stuff, use it and take advantage of it. Then as fishing gets tougher, then you need to downsize and go to more of your finesse techniques.
本次的分享就到这里，老样子给大家准备了2顶签名帽作为纪念品。在此，诚挚的感谢主办单位与承办单位及各相关部门机构，把这样一个在全球都极具影响力的国际型赛事引进和落地中国，为我们的鲈钓运动发展和鲈钓文化的交流做出贡献。希望看到这个视频的观众朋友们有机会也来尝试鲈钓，相信你一定会爱上它的。散会。